Okay, so this is basically going to be a part 2 for the Am I in the Beast Religion video. Okay, wait a minute. Or maybe this won't really be a part 2. I'm still kind of thinking about it because I'm thinking about doing some videos on the whole white man religion thing because I really want to go into that, and maybe I'll just talk about that in this video. But I kind of mentioned some things that I mentioned in the last video, which is that the blind / brown hair Jesus is actually an entity in the occult / Satanism. This also goes along with the fact Jesus is a Greek translation with Zeus in it, because they would put the name of their gods in their names, just like how Hebrews would have Yah and El in their name, and still do. Even though a lot of people don't know that because they don't know their actual ethnicity, but they still give their kids a lot of the same names. But anyway, since Zeus is Satan, Jesus and Satan come back with the same numbers in a geometria cipher, whatever that stuff is called, which this is something that Conscious X commonly talks about, which I think I mentioned in this because I write this stuff down so I can actually remember what to say. Freemason controlled oppositions under the pagan Roman Catholic Church / beast religion, like Rashad Jamal and Conscious X even try to use the geometria cipher as proof that Jesus and Lucifer are the same person. They also use other aspects of the false Jesus that Paul warned about to push their Gnostic doctrines, like Rashad Jamal's story that William Shakespeare wrote the Bible, which is actually funny because the thing is, since these people that run these channels are all Freemasons and they're secretly working for, well, you could say it's white supremacists, but really when you go to the top, they really don't even like other Caucasian people, which is why I mentioned in the last video, the real war has actually been against the white supremacists at the top who actually are running everything, which a lot of these include the people running around Africa pretending to be the people, and then the white supremacists on the bottom who want to be running something but aren't. So that would be like the people in the South, or really any lower branch white supremacists that you can think about. And some of them actually do feel some type of way about the quote-unquote you-know-who's, because I can't even say that term, I don't think. The Europeans that are running around Africa pretending to be the people, or even the ones that aren't African pretending to be the chosen, or using certain terms that I can't say. The lower branch white supremacists will sometimes, some of them don't like them, but majority do, because majority of racist Caucasian people in general will tell you that they are the chosen people, even though, well, I won't even say even though, specifically because a lot of them don't know that a lot of the white supremacists at the top who run around claiming to be the people don't actually really like other Caucasian people, especially the ones that are really, really at the top. But anyway, to get back to the point, since these YouTubers like Rashad Jamal, or people like, what's that other dude? I think his name is Billy Carson, but I'm not even sure. And then there's some other people too. Since they're Freemasons and they're technically working in a society that's under these white supremacists, and the whole like goal of the white supremacists at the top, so these are like Esau and then some other groups, because some of them are actually Hamites, but nobody ever talks about that, like the Rothschilds. They actually can trace their DNA back to Nimrod, who was a Nephilim, and some other people, and that's actually Cush, but nobody ever talks about that part. That's why I don't really like how people are always throwing around the Khazar and Esau thing, because it's kind of more to the story than just that. But anyway, because I'm really trying to stay on the topic. Since the whole goal of Esau and these other people is to get the people that God loves to not believe in him and all that, they get these quote unquote black dudes, because I really don't even like the terms black or white because of what they're really for, but they get these black dudes like Rashad Jamal and Billy Carson or whatever his name is and these other people to get on these channels on different platforms and tell little bits and pieces of the story and switch around versions of the truth, and they basically try to make it seem like white people made up the idea of God, even though Caucasians have actually never made a religion. All they ever did was change the name and the looks of different gods. Although Caucasian Europeans did make atheism. Atheism is actually a white supremacist philosophy, which is why when they started making psychiatry, it was really only melanated people who got the schizophrenia label, because believing in God and spirits and all that was and still is part of what's considered schizophrenia. But anyway, they get these black dudes to say a whole bunch of bullcrap that'll not only leave melanated people in general, but specifically the people who actually are Hebrews away from God, by making them think that God is just something that was made up by white people, which is really, really funny. Because if you look into like Greco-Roman culture, or really any culture with people that at least now are considered Caucasians, you would see that when they weren't atheistic, they were pagans just like everybody else, which is why they worship the Olympians, which were the fallen angels, and their GMOs and stuff, just like everybody else worshiped, except the Hebrews, because the Hebrews were the only people, other people converted, they were the only people that actually believed in God. So it's really funny that people say all this, but if they just did real research, they would see the truth. Because what these dudes are actually pushing on these different social medias is actually Gnosticism, which was kind of Babylonian, which is the same thing that these white supremacists at the top, these fake you-know-whos, this is what they're in, because the Talmud, which is actually Egyptian and Babylonian, but now, well, that goes on with the Kabbalah, which the Kabbalah is Egyptian, the Talmud is Babylonian. I was getting confused for a second, but now they're calling it the you-know-what Kabbalah, because I really don't think I can say that word, but I'll probably edit it in, but like using a different spelling. But anyway, that's their philosophy. It's the white supremacist people at the top. This is their philosophy, Gnosticism, which is Talmudic. And so the black people that watch these channels feel like they're really like learning something and like this is the truth, because they won't go back and do any real research themselves, or really because they have church hurt and they associate religion and church and all this other stupid stuff with God, and so it makes them want to listen to these crazy little videos and run with it. But they don't know that the philosophies that they're being told are actually made up by the white supremacists that they claim they don't like and are trying to like, okay, so basically I'm trying to find a good way to put it. People associate God with white supremacists, so they're trying to like run to these little YouTubers and stuff and listen to their philosophies, but they don't know that their philosophies come from these same white supremacists that changed the original depictions of Christ to the Caesar Borgia depiction. And then the funny thing is, after they changed all that stuff and then they made Catholicism and all that, they went back into the occult and atheism and stuff. And then these same people also started making Scientology and all that. So it's like it's a lot of funny stuff with that because it's like the white supremacists. They hijacked the Bible and changed everything around and used it against people, and then they went back into the belief systems that they were already in before they hijacked the Bible, which was the occult, and back to paganism and atheism and Scientology. And if you look into the Renaissance, you'll see they were also making even more weird philosophies in that revolve around Gnosticism and atheism and all that. And honestly, anybody that really is for pro-black and pan-Africanism or whatever these people are calling themselves, if they really cared about all that, they wouldn't give credit to God and the Bible over to white supremacists anyway. That's another funny thing about how this stuff goes to me, because it's like, if you guys are so pro-black, then why are you giving credit to the Bible, something that you know is a Northeast African book? Really not even Northeast African, because I mean, the Hebrews lived in Egypt for a long time before they actually got the land that they used for the northern and southern kingdoms of Israel, but that's another story. But yeah, so why are you giving credit to the Bible? Credit of the Bible to white supremacists, or really to Caucasian people in general. That's another funny thing that they do. Okay, so trying to think about where I was last at, because I wrote some of this down. Oh yeah, okay, so I looked back at the paper and I remembered something that I forgot to say. Another thing is that William Shakespeare was another one of these Freemasons in the Seed of the Serpent bloodline, so that's another thing that makes it funny that Rashad Jamal would give credit to him. And I think Conscious X might have said the same thing before, and it's really weird anyway, especially with how old the book actually is, and it's just really weird to give credit to William Shakespeare. I just can't really wrap my head around that. It's like, out of all people, William Shakespeare. Okay, so the next thing I wrote, he's trying hard to push this white man's book narrative because the entities and organizations he works with, hate God's chosen people and want to lead them away from God. And then the next thing I wrote is, this is also why black people in the conscious community made up this lie that black people are the mark of the beast, and that 666 means 6 neutrons, 6 protons, and 6 electrons. Okay, so this is something that these quote-unquote conscious black people have been saying for like a couple of years now, and I don't really understand where they got this from. It honestly just seems like more bullcrap that some black boule Freemason Luciferian sellout got from some white dude at the top of his brotherhood or something, and then started putting out there to lead real Hebrews and any other melanated people astray, because that's the agenda of Esau and all these other groups of people that are in the Seed of the Serpent bloodline. They want to get the people that God loves to not believe in God and go into these weird philosophies that are made up by these same white supremacists that people claim they're trying to get away from. And it's honestly so funny. That's why people really need to do their own research and stop listening to these people that are staring into a camera and don't blink. But anyway, this rhetoric honestly sounds like some bullcrap made up by some racist white person in the conscious community to confuse Hebrews, or just some mess made by someone who can't read. I honestly don't know how someone can read the Bible passages about the mark of the beast, and get black people. If you watch videos about this, you'll see that only black people are saying this crap. It reminds me of the quote unquote black people come from Cain lie. So yeah, I'm trying to think if I have anything else to say about this, but yeah, it's really just weird, and it's obvious that that was something that somebody made up just to try to confuse somebody, because I really don't even know how somebody could get that. So you're gonna get a black person on your right hand or forehead. It doesn't even make sense. It really does. But yeah, I'll probably make a part 3 or whatever.